All right, the NBA's Western Conference and Eastern Conference Finals are both set. The Houston Rockets took care of the Clippers in Game 7 earlier today, so they take on the Golden State Warriors, who they have not beaten yet this year in the Western Conference Finals. In the East, we've known who those two teams would be since Friday. Cleveland and Atlanta will get together. For Atlanta, it's their first conference final, but the first time they've been in the NBA's Final Four since 1970, when it was called the Eastern Division Finals. Now, the Cavs were just in the conference finals back in 2009 when they were upset by the Orlando Magic, who ended up losing to the LA Lakers in the finals. Now, in the East, I like the Cavaliers to beat the Hawks because I think that Cleveland would be able to win in Atlanta. And I don't trust Atlanta to win in Cleveland, even though the last two times that Atlanta's had a chance to close out a series on the road, they've done so. But I just think Cleveland is a little bit better, even though Kyrie Irving is banged up, even though Kevin Love will not be in the series at all. I still like Cleveland's bench a little bit better than I like Atlanta's. Even though Atlanta doesn't have a lot of players that just jump out at you, I think that Cleveland has the kind of mojo that they need to have going into the series, but I could be wrong. Now, in the West, I like the Warriors, and I think the Warriors could go all the way here. Steph Curry is the MVP. You got James Harden, who finished second. But I think Steph Curry has something to prove here. Even though he won the MVP, I think a lot of people felt that James Harden should have won the MVP award, and I think people are still doubting Steph Curry, and that hasn't been a rare occurrence. But I just like the Warriors' style of play in this series because I don't think Houston will be able to score enough points. I know that sounds crazy because they do score a lot of points. But here's the thing. In a shootout, I'll go with the team that shoots the ball better than Houston. And sometimes when you watch Houston, it's James Harden dribbling the ball for 20 seconds and then either a pass or a shot. James Harden needs to get into the lane for the Rockets to have a chance to win this series because they do have the advantage inside. And I think Golden State has trouble against big teams. Memphis Grizzlies almost had the right blueprint to beat the Warriors. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk to you about is the Triple Crown. American Pharoah has a chance to become the first horse since affirmed in 1978 to win all three legs of the Triple Crown. He's got the Kentucky Derby. He was very impressive in the Preakness last Saturday. And now he's going to go on June the 6th to the Belmont. Now, it's going to be very, very difficult for American Pharoah because, as we all know, there'll be a lot of challengers trying to take his throne down that probably haven't raced since the Kentucky Derby. And that's probably the way it should be. It shouldn't be easy to win the Triple Crown. That's why it's so exciting. Now, for American Pharoah to win, I think he's going to have to draw a good post. I don't think he can go from the inside like he did in the Preakness because I don't know what kind of weather it's going to be in Belmont Park, but I will say this. If he gets out to the lead, he's going to have to hold it for almost 2 minutes. And in a mile and a half, it's very difficult on these horses. So I think American Pharoah, don't be surprised if you see him third or fourth on the back stretch before he tries to make that final move. I think if Victor Espinoza gets him out too far, too early, he may not go the entire distance. But I think American Pharoah has a great chance. Not going to pick him yet, but I think he will definitely be in the top 3. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is graduate transfers. Now, the NCAA is not entering an era of free agency, but it does look that way. Everett Golson was former Notre Dame quarterback, and now he's getting ready to decide whether he's going to go to Florida State, perhaps Florida, or perhaps Georgia. Now, this could really change the landscape of college football and college athletics. Because a lot more graduate transfers are popping up everywhere you go. I think a lot of people don't like that because it seems to take away the integrity of the game. I personally have no problem with it. If you have the eligibility and the rule states that you can go ahead and go. And for Everett Golson, who is a football player that has a lot of football left in him and doesn't want to get beat out by an underclassman in Notre Dame, it seems like the right thing to do for him. And that's what it all comes down to, the individual. It's all about what they want, not what the fans want. And I think in this case, I think Everett Golson goes to Florida State. It would be very ironic because last year he lost to Florida State on Florida State's way to the college football playoff. And it could be interesting that Everett Golson could be that same quarterback that leads Florida State back to the college football playoff.